Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Oh,
I'm good.
sorry,
Well,
Fern.
as good as can
Sorry,
be.
Fern. Just really quickly, I was muted, which is how it's fitting, as Claire says, fitting. Uh, hello, everybody. Um, so, uh, I was saying that I had an intro planned. This is my third plan on the intro, apparently, and that's not, the game didn't go the way that it was supposed to. Neither did the start of the stream, but this is my friend Fern. Longtime mutuals, we're here to talk hockey as everybody is. I'm seeing our lovely, lovely usuals in the chat and some some new people. We are not firing Marty. But why don't I just start by handing things over to Fern? Why don't you tell us how you're feeling?
I'm gonna be honest. I was expecting to be a lot happier about the end of this game. Um, as always, happy to be here, happy to talk hockey. This is kind of my first stream doing something like this, so be nice, everyone. But disappointed to say the least. I think getting a point out of this game was generous with the way they were playing, but I'm still mad about it. I have a lot of grievances.
Mhm.
Hopefully, we'll be able to air some of them out over the course of this stream.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's kind of where I'm at is also hi everybody, you can see my cat in the background. Um that's kind of where I'm at in I didn't feel like they particularly deserved to be there, but that doesn't mean that I'm happy about the way it ended. That shootout was really odd. It was really weird. I'm sure that there's some sort of rule in the rule book justifying it, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Um and that doesn't mean I have to like the game that this team played either. I almost feel like it would be better thirds the way that they used to, because there was a while there I was like, oh, I wish that they would just play a complete 60. And it turns out they're like, we're either gonna play the first or we're playing the second and the third. And at this point, I'll take the second and the third. Uh man.
I mean, I'd rather a 40-minute game than showing up in the first 20 and blowing it afterwards.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want them to go out limp the way they did. I don't want them to go out like scrambling and panicking the way that
Yeah.
they did. Like, I'd rather if we're going to lose the game and have a strong last 40 minutes, like they tried until like the clock ran out, and that's I don't know, it just felt like they panicked the entire game. Like they knew that there was a lot on the line. They
Mhm.
got comfortable in the lead, they realized they blew it, and then they were scrambling for the rest of it. And it was not pleasant to watch.
Well, it was just not a it wasn't what I was hoping to see, especially with the way it started. They didn't look particularly, I'd say like the first five, they looked nice and crisp, and then they started looking a little bit sloppier, but still like they were playing and they were doing their jobs. And then it started like falling apart real quick. And it sucks because looking back n- in the near future, looking back, everybody's gonna remember that they lost this game. Now, when we look back years later and we talk about Demidov's game, it'll be like a nice little fun bit where it'll be like, oh, Demidov's first game, he scored a goal and he got an assist, and also the team lost and it was about to be a clinching. Like, I'm sure it'll be like, I'm sure it'll be something later. Right now, it just sucks. I feel bad for the kid. What a hell of a start to his career. And then, welcome to Habs hockey, kid. Like, it's just,
I
man.
mean, I don't know if this is ever going to be a fun anecdote. We kind of, as a fan base, don't really get over anything ever. I doubt if we blow playoffs, This game will be talked about for eternity, and I don't think it'll ever really be in a positive way. So
No, I mean, this is
we gotta
assuming.
hope.
Yeah, this is assuming that they clinch. I'm still like trying to manifest it. I mean, I guess 1 point, if that does anything, it makes it so Columbus does have to win both of their remaining games in regulation. Fern was telling me that the next game is versus the Flyers.
It's
Um,
Flyers and Islanders, and they both have favorable odds for both of those games. So I don't know what Money Puck is up to, putting our odds so high, and then also predicting that Columbus will win both of their upcoming games. But that's what we've got cut out for us at this point. It's no longer unless we beat Carolina. That's kind
yeah,
of a big unless. It's a big if we beat Carolina. It's kind of out of our control. And it's up to
yeah.
how Columbus and Philly and the fucking Islanders do it.
So Columbus, Carolina always does this thing at the end of the year where they will rest their guys. Um, that doesn't mean that their big ass, scary ass coach, I don't remember his name, will play to
Rod
lose.
Brindamore.
Yes, Brindamore. Sorry, I just completely blanked on his name. Um, to me, that doesn't mean that he's going to coach to win any less, but it does mean the quality of players is down. But I hate that we're in this position, that we're talking about all of this. So you know what? Why don't we talk a little bit about how we got here? To start the game, and feel free to chime in if you need to. To start the game, I'll look back at my notes because honestly, at this, guys, I was by the time this game was done, I was so mad, annoyed, sad that I don't remember most of the game. So I apologize if I missed something. I'm genuinely just referring back to my notes. Um, wasn't it crazy? Demidov, I think, threw a hit on his first shift at the game. Do you remember that? That was
Oh yeah, he
hilarious.
threw a hit. He didn't get much puck possession, but everyone was up on their feet.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Like
why
the crowd
not?
was going. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was a good hit.
Yeah, Slaf was physical right away. I noted Line was fast. I know everybody has opinions on Line. I am in the minority here, but we can talk about that a little bit later. Um, I said Monty saved on one side, then Demidov dangled, and Newey scored. Finally, Newey scored, and it's 1-0 at that point. I noted that they were shooting a lot more. They were playing sloppy, but they were shooting more. And then I looked at the numbers and I was like, I don't think they're shooting all that much. Shooting more, but that's not a lot. Um, and then Demidov scored, obviously, 2-0. That hit by Guhle was a listen, he got his money's worth on that, at least, if nothing else. It
Oh,
was
for sure.
it was a hit that was definitely gonna send him to the penalty box, but he got his money's worth.
No, it
Um,
was a solid hit if he'd waited like half a second for the
yeah,
puck to get a little bit closer.
yeah.
But
I think now that he's, like, allowing himself to play physically a little bit more, maybe he needs to get his timing back, and also, I am I will, see the best in him at all times because I need to in order to survive. I'm sorry, guys, I keep saying my camera's, not focusing, so that sucks. Much like the Habs weren't focusing because things started getting really, really sloppy near the end of the first. I love the first feeling like, okay, they need time to just settle down. They're fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. They're in a really good position. I believe I missed somewhere along the way. Yeah, after Guhle's hit, when they were on a penalty kill, which, by the way, what happened to our beautiful penalty kill? Um,
right? I
it
was
was,
so sad. Our
and
PK, our beautiful PK.
usually we
What
can
happened
rely
to
on
it?
it. Yeah, usually we can rely on it when the penalty kill is doing its thing where it's being asked. Um, I noted that there was a close. Anyways, don't want to go into everything. Um, so first period. How did you feel coming out of it?
I think coming out of the first, I was pretty welcome. Like I
Mhm.
felt like the intermission was welcome. I think they did need that time to reset. I noticed that things were starting to get a little bit like sloppy towards the end, especially like when we let up that power play goal. I think that might have rattled them. Like usually the PK is pretty solid and it's something we can count on.
Yeah.
And so it cut the lead in half. And
Yeah.
then from then on it was sort of trying to hold the lead instead of extend it, and it
Mhm.
made them like very much feel like they were playing catch up even when they were like in the lead 2-1. And so I think that late goal, like goal late into the first, sort of, not to say it was a bad omen, but it didn't feel great. And I think that I was a little bit soured by the end of the first. Maybe, my bad feelings now are tinting it, and I wasn't feeling that bad at the end of the first, but I think that, like, there was definitely an idea that I was like, okay, they need this break, they need to reset, they need to come back chasing it again in the second.
Yeah.
Because that late goal sort of shook the not comfortable, but
Yeah.
slightly more comfortable 2-goal lead that they had.
Yeah, I think I was like, things have the potential to go real bad at this point. It felt like it could like snowball real fast. Now, this what do you call it? Like comfort, I guess, anymore, but at least it didn't spiral. At least it didn't snowball. Their best. I think if Chicago was a better team, it would have snowballed real fast. But okay, so going into the second, I said not the most impressive start. I was pretty whelmed by that period, I think is what it comes down to. I thought it was um obviously later we had some I had this like Monty looked locked in at that point. I have my opinions on that third goal. We'll get to that later. We're getting outplayed by the Blackhawks. I said, like I'm sure it was a bit of an emotional like up and down because of how the first like how much energy there was. But you were still professionals. You still need to be able to play hockey. As much as I refer to them as children, they are not actual babies. Um, Again, I know that Liney's working hard. I know people will disagree, but I'm dying on that hill. Uh, I'm not sure if you noticed, Power Play 2, the first one at least, had Suzuki on the second unit as well, which he's been doing recently because the power play's struggling. And that was with Demidov and Newhook. I wonder if we'll get to what Marty's going to do with those lines in that power play for the next game, but yeah.
I mean, I think their issues with the power play are beyond this game,
Oh yeah.
like as we can tell. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think that I was hopeful that Demidov's addition would cause some reshuffling and cause some reevaluation, but it really just feels like he swapped Demidov out for another player.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't really make any real adjustments to like how it was structured and like who was playing what role. I think I've said before, and I will say again, I don't think Caufield should be in the bumper.
Yeah.
I think it really does a disservice to his skills. I really think that like they're not using the players in each of their best spots. And so I was hoping that Demidov's addition, maybe like, was I a little bit naive? Was I a little bit optimistic that he'd be immediately put on power play 1? Yeah, but when he came out of that 4-on-4, I thought that it looked really strong. I thought that when he came out of the 4-on-4 and was on the first power play unit when they were rolling over from the 4-on-4 to the power play, that looked really strong, and I was hoping that that would carry over for the rest of the game. And when it didn't, I was disappointed, not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
it just feels like we're trying to force something that we know is broken. Like
Yeah.
they were saying on LDS that our power plays hasn't scored in the past. What was it? 7 power? It was at least 7. It was something like 7 games or 7 power plays. I
Number
should
of
have written
games
down the
I
stat.
don't wish to remember. And even then, I think the last
But
time they
too
scored,
many games is the point.
I think even the last time they scored, that was after a drought of quite a few games where they didn't score. So it's not been great. And here's the thing, I was not thrilled by some certified, you know what? I did not go into this game. Let's just put it this way. I did not go into this game expecting Mike Matheson to piss me off more than David Savard. Like that's kind of what I'll say. I feel like David Savard did his role um to what we can expect, I think, of him. And Mike Matheson I've been a Mike Matheson defender, and I probably will continue to be more on the defender side than other people, but man, Mike, you're making it hard on me. Like it's not. You disagree?
I don't know. I feel like okay. I don't know if this puts me strongly in a defender or a critic camp.
Mhm.
I don't feel great when he plays the puck. to be
Yeah.
honest, at times. I think this game especially, but I mean, I understand his importance in wearing the A. I don't think anyone who criticizes his hockey is really doubting that at any point. And
No.
I understand Marty's willingness to give him slack, considering how vital he's been to the team in the past.
Mhm.
But again, I think it seems like he's sort of clinging to ideals of how he wants things to work versus what will actually work. And that continues with the over-reliance on Matheson. He's playing too many minutes is the thing.
No,
Like,
yeah.
they're relying on him way too much when he makes these bad plays, when he makes like these turnovers or he shoots the puck wide, and it gets to a point where no one can look past it anymore. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So I guess that puts me in the critic camp now that I've voiced it out loud. But like, I
To
don't
me,
know.
I don't
I
like
want to root for him. I want him to be
same.
better than he is.
Same. And I do like and I know everybody's so tired of hearing it because there's only so many times you can say it before it's just like, yeah, we get it, but I don't care, I'm mad. Of like he's not playing the role that he should be, but unfortunately that is what he's playing right now on this team. And we simply just need better. I'm seeing just for a second of levity, I'm saying Alexander Christian. It's saying in the chat, this is a lot of words to say. We only win when Emil Heinemann is in the lineup. I I think he's the secret sauce. All
Yeah.
jokes aside, I think that fourth line when it was going was when we were at our best. So I'm just gonna go into the third real quick, and then we can talk just about the game in general. I started my notes with the third with saying, I feel like I can't breathe. I can't take notes right now. I can't even focus. And that's kind of how I felt throughout the rest of the game. A note I had, and again, I will get slack for this, but I said, you guys are all annoyed at this power play and you're taking it out on line A because to me, he's playing badly on the power play, but he's playing well 5v5. So it's a weird conversation to have because it's been the other way around most of his time here, I guess. The goal from Slafkovsky that tied it up in the end, the power play goal, full luck, 100% just luck. Lane Hudson made a good play. It's like I said that's kind of like what happened with the Flyers goal with Nick, except they deserved it that game, and I don't think they deserved it this game. Overtime. Did you notice there wasn't any Slav? And actually, let's go back. Third. Do you have thoughts? Because I have no memories of that third, I will tell you that.
I mean, I think my main opinion was just they don't deserve to win it right now. Like, I was watching them and I said, if they lose right now, I will not be surprised. I was not really expecting that third goal to come on the power play. I didn't really have any faith that they could turn
I
it
don't think they
around.
were either.
No, I don't think they did either. I think that to make that comparison, because I was thinking about it during the game while watching, between Nick's goal against the Flyers and the goal here, they were that phrase, you need to be good to get lucky. Like, they had the right positioning then, they were setting up chances, and so when the lucky bounce came, Nick was in position to capitalize off of it. That was not what happened this power play. It didn't feel like they had been, working at it, chipping at it, and finally something gave way and they were able to seize the moment. It felt like pure coincidence. And I mean, I'm glad that we scored. We got at least a point out of it. It was not a deserved goal. But like just in terms of quality of play, again, can't be mad about it, but I don't know. I hope it doesn't make it seem like our power play is fixed.
I don't think that. I think Marty is smart enough to see that that was all luck. I think it was so luck that we didn't even know who scored it. Like that's how lucky it was. At one point we all thought it was Cole, and then we all realized it was Slav, and then it was like actually it's Slav's skate blade. So yeah, I'm not, that's a I'm seeing some people in the chat talk a little bit. I'm seeing Robert Rice. Sorry, I'm just fixing something real quick. I'm seeing Robert Rice say the power play issue is that the strategy sacks zone entry relying on a junky drop pass that always forces Nick left. He has to immediately dump it to line A, who is always surrounded when he gets it. But Romelia, line A makes can't make a pass to save his life. Okay, power play, I agree. I think power play, it's not working. I don't like, obviously to say it, like I hate to say it, but just because I don't want to put any pressure on the kid, but just throw him out there. Put Demidov on that power play. But who do you take off? In your opinion, who would you take off there?
I don't. Okay. I think that there are probably people who could give a better answer than I could. But
I'm just an
I
idiot.
think
I host this, so I give my opinion, so you're fine.
look,
You know
I
things.
think as sad as it sounds to say, I think you take Cole Caufield off. If we're putting Demidov on, we
Mhm.
have Line. I think what happens, we saw before in previous games that when the penalty kill can account for Line, it's very limited in its options. Cole
Mhm.
Caufield doesn't really pose a scoring threat when he's acting as the bumper.
Mhm.
And so I think that you have to remove him so that we can create the illusion, either create the illusion or genuinely create two scoring opportunities on the power play so
Yeah.
that defenders can't all, focus their resources on Line A. I
Mhm.
think that we're starting to feel the effects of like the line. We felt the effects before of the Line A power play getting figured out.
Yeah.
And so now he's kind of just throwing shots at the goalie's chest, hoping for the best
Mm.
because we still rely on him to score those power play goals and it's not working.
Yeah.
And so I think that's sort of why we saw, like, especially in the third, just, shots from Line firing vaguely towards the net and it was not working, is because we know that he's supposed to be the one who's scoring on the power play,
Mhm.
and yet like everyone knows he's supposed to be the one scoring on the power play, including the people on the penalty
And
kill.
that's
So I
the
think if you're
yeah.
gonna put in someone else, you need someone else who can score, who brings that, like, who's legitimately a scoring threat. And I think that it was supposed to be Cole. He's playing bumper right now, so he's not really. And so
Mhm.
I think that if you're putting in Demidov to be a second scoring threat, you have to take out Cole.
Mhm. Mhm. See, I feel like that also opens up space for him in in the second unit. I'm seeing Amy suggest move Cole to line A spot, line A to power play 2, Demidov on power play 1. Also just Amy also adds that in the KHL, Demidov played in Slav's spot. Um, I'm not comfortable taking Slav off that power play. I know people are really frustrated with him. I feel like he brings something to this power play that no other player on that power play brings. And I hate to simplify it to size, big boy hockey, but like I do think he has just the ability to get in there and bully his way in. We know Nick is strong, we know blah blah blah, but like there is something to be said just about like sheer just get her done, you know? Um, so I don't know necessarily if I would take out Slav and put Demidov. Also, is he useful there? You know what I mean? Like, I know he played there in the KHL, but is he really useful? What are your thoughts on like him possibly playing where Slav is right now? Because I've seen that suggestion several times over.
I mean, I definitely see the potential. I think that I admittedly don't know enough about his game in the KHL. Like, yeah, I knew that he played there. I don't know enough about his game there to see how well it would translate in a new context and
Hmm.
how being in that position would necessarily be the same. I personally agree with you. I think that, not to make it about big boy hockey, but he does have that net front presence.
Hmm.
And sure Nick could do the same thing, but I like when his options are a lot more limited to, like, I mean, a lot less limited to make those plays and have a bit more space away from the net
Hmm.
to help out Hudson and to help out with the mobility of the power play and like the flexibility of making those passes. And I
Hmm.
think that ability would be greatly diminished if
He's
Nick went
boxed
to the
in
net
there.
front. I think that, yeah.
Hmm.
And so I think that there is a reason why Slav is there. I personally would keep him there. But
Hmm.
I mean, at the same time, it's not working the way it is. I
Yeah.
would be, if there were more time in this season, if we weren't on the verge of being eliminated from playoff contention, like in 2 days, I would love to put Demidov there to see how it would pan out.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we weren't really accorded that luxury, so that's
Hmm.
for the preseason
Hmm.
in October. But
And I don't want to talk
yeah,
about October. I want to talk about April. I want to talk about
I want to talk
May.
about April and May and knock on
Yeah.
wood June.
Yeah, I just,
But
it's just I I see Manuel say Slav does not play big boy hockey. He does. That is that is an outdated opinion based on previous play in my opinion. He leads the team in hits. I think he's figuring it out. He's inconsistent, but when called upon, he does play that. Um, so let's just like talk about overtime a little bit. Uh, I'm again going to be completely honest. I remember pretty much nothing of it except A, Slav didn't play a shift, which I was a little shocked about because I thought he had a really good game. And B, there was this one amazing defensive work by Newhook where he just was like a dog after the puck and stayed on it. And then my last note, because I didn't take any notes for the shootout, was what are we effing doing here? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And that's kind of how I felt by the time that we got to shootout. And then I felt even more after the shootout ended. Like that was really, I was just, this is what I hate. Sorry, this is not about overtime, but this is what I hate is
Mm.
I should right now focus all my ire and anger on the Habs because they deserve it. They played like shit. I think in Toronto they played like relatively well. I know the shots didn't look good, but I thought they played relatively well. I think today was an abysmal game. It's an embarrassment. Like I usually try to like be a little bit more tempered about these things because I know that this is on the internet forever and I'm gonna have to look back at it and like admire and like admit what I'm feeling, but like right now I'm just not. I just didn't find it impressive either. The overtime, it still looked so panic. It genuinely just felt like they were throwing the puck out there. It didn't feel like they were playing with each other. Demidov seemed like the only one who was playing with his teammates, which like he barely has done that. And trust me, guys, we will touch on Demidov. I think we both really loved what we saw out of him, but we'll touch on that in the next segment. So, let's just get through overtime really quickly. Overtime thoughts?
Okay. I want to make that comparison to the Toronto game just because
Mhm.
I do have thoughts. I think we saw in both games, especially the Toronto game, an unevenness between shot attempts and actual recorded shots on goal. And
Mhm.
I think that it was harped upon in the Toronto game, like accuracy, 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 like let's get these shots actually on net. I think that that was a glaring flaw in the Toronto game, but it wasn't really emblematic of poor play the same way that it was in this game. I think in this game, the lack of accuracy was much more reflective of a greater feeling of panic than
Mhm.
it really was in the Toronto game. I thought that aside in the Toronto game, like aside from the glaring fact that we had so few shots on net, they looked okay. And the lack of shots was more
Mhm.
like, oh, well, if you look at shot attempts, it's actually a lot more of an even game than it looks.
Mhm.
Here, when you look at the shot attempts versus shots, it's, oh, they're just firing things at the net in the hopes that it goes in without any real
Mhm.
thought put behind it. And I think that it's similar numbers, but two very different situations, one much more frustrating than the other.
Especially looking at the opponent, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the Blackhawks, y'all.
Mhm.
Let's be so for real right now.
I think
We should not be
Romelli,
playing like
yeah,
this against them.
Romelli says that I am exaggerating, which I might be. She says that they didn't play bad overall, but they were having a lot of difficulties defensively to get out of their zone. That's the thing. It's versus the Blackhawks. I if this is the team that shows up, let's say they make it to the playoffs, which I'm not like I don't even know. Like I don't whatever. I don't want to think about that right now. But let's say they play versus an opponent like the Capitals. Capitals are going to eat them alive. Like that is I saw some people like again, I think we're all in doomer mode right now. We do need to
Oh,
remember
absolutely.
that like Columbus has a big task on their hands. Um but things just went really wrong today. Uh you know what Han Swanson says, we'll touch okay, let's shoot out. Um why didn't Line just shoot from the slot in the shootout? My guy, you have one thing you do. I I don't I'm so I'm lost for words. I'm so mad right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm so frustrated. I'm trying so hard to be like not. insane, but you've seen my DMs to you, so you know what I am containing right now in my heart.
Oh, absolutely. You are the epitome of composed and put together. Things could be so much worse right now. If anything, we're doing a lot better than the group therapy session we held yesterday
Yeah.
on Spaces, I think. Um, well, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about the shootout, frankly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I
To
feel
me, yeah.
maybe this is particularly ungenerous of me. I don't feel like Cole had a particularly good game.
Mhm.
Um, I maybe I was just fixated on his mistakes, but I saw him go out for the shootout, and I know he can shoot the puck, but they were saying on I don't know. I just didn't feel like he should have been the first go-to choice based on his play today. Like, I know that he can shoot. I think that I would have been okay with having him go out second or third. I
Mhm.
think that, like you said, look, was Laine doing badly on the power play? Yes. I think that his 5-on-5 was much better. I think that they could have put out other options first. Maybe this is my bad take of the night. But
Who
that
would
was
you
just how I felt watching it.
who would you
Maybe more self-reflection.
who would you put out?
Well, now knowing they lost, my judgment is kind of clouded.
To me,
But
I was a little bit Nick's been disappointing in the shootout this year. I believe
yeah,
he hasn't scored once, which
he hasn't.
no.
I feel like I think of him as like a good shootout guy, but I think you're right.
Because
Actually, if
last
you're right,
season
then
there
I
was some magical, like gorgeous goals
no,
that he scored.
absolutely, you're right. I think that this is definitely my bad take of the night. Then I rescind that, y'all. I'm learning and growing. That's part of being on a stream. Okay.
This is the thing, we're processing together. Hans Swanson says this is cathartic. I think that's what we all really need.
Thank you.
Um,
I think that catharsis is what I'm going for here personally.
I think I would drive myself like on one hand, I was like, I really don't want to do a stream right now. I don't really feel like I can be measured. And then I was like, I would rather talk this out, I think, because I would literally drive myself insane about this. I feel bad for Fern because you're in, I don't remember the exact time zone, but like you have a longer day ahead of you than I do.
Yeah, I'm in the Pacific, so I'm gonna eat my dinner after this and stew on it during dinner. But not to take it back to the shootout question, frankly, I don't really know who I would put instead. I think that was
Mhm.
sort of a gut emotional reaction. I would Everything is sort of clouded also by the reffing situation, but I would have liked to have seen Demidov out there. He was great all night. We know what he can do with his hands. He's not something a goalie, unless they're out there watching Demidov KHL clips, would really
Which
be
they
able to
might be
predict
like the
in the
rest
same
of
way.
us. They
They
might be like the
definitely
rest of
might
us.
be. They definitely might be. Like, who knows if they're a closet Habs fan? It's okay. We support you.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have seen him out there. I think that yes, is it a lot of pressure to put on a rookie? I absolutely, but I think that I don't know. I think that he could have. I think he could have handled it. Maybe I'm putting too much on the 19-year-old's shoulders, but I think that seeing as he was like one of our best players all night, he should have been able to go out there.
I would agree. I would agree. Um, we'll talk a little bit more about Demidov, I think, in the upcoming period. But first, I am going to send you guys over to our lovely friend, Andrew Berkshire. You guys know Andrew. Why did I introduce him by his full name? I don't know. Here we are. So I'm going to send you guys over to Andrew, and we will be right back.
We are so excited to tell you about our new partner here at Game Over Montreal, a delightfully witchy goth and glam jewelry store making handcrafted art that varies from subtle silver to gold pieces to glamorous bespoke. Inchoo Bijoux is more than just a company. They've built a community through advocacy and a welcoming attitude that has made them an institution here in Montreal. Located in the historic Chateau Saint-Ambroise, Inchoo Bijoux also runs seasonal themed markets called Maleficarum Market or Marché Maleficarum en français, where artisans from all over get together and showcase and sell their wares. Drop by 4000 Rue Saint-Ambroise, Suite 278, and say hi to Astrid and the Wicked team, or head to inchoobijoux.com and enhance your style. The next Maleficarum Market will be on the weekend of February 8th and 9th. We'll see you there. Now, Let's get back to the show, but before you do, make sure you subscribe to Game Over Montreal, Game Over Network, and smash like on this video because it really helps us out.
Okay, back. Hopefully better performance than the start of the show. Uh, so I'm seeing some reports in the chat that he was supposed to go fourth, Demidov. I wonder if Marty would have put him in earlier if perhaps we knew that that goal counted. Which again, sorry, really quickly, apparently, and I want to go back to this because I got some great information. Trinka, our lovely friend Trinka in the chat said, so Jared Book has it on Blue Sky that the rule is actually, quote, any potential goal requiring video review must be reviewed prior to and or during the next stoppage of play. No goal may be awarded or disallowed as a result of a video review once play has resumed. So, seems like the NHL fucked up, and we will probably get no explanation about it.
Yeah, see, I'd heard that, but I think that I was hearing on LDS that there was some debate about whether that counted, considering it was a shootout, because it's not a play in a traditional sense, and it's sort of the idea that each person goes individually. I personally think that it was a major mess up by the refs, and that in accordance with the rule books, that should not have been allowed. But I think that there was the argument for its legitimacy was based on the fact that it was in fact a shootout. I personally, LDS, it looked like 3 with his fingers in terms of Demidov going 3rd or 4th. Maybe LDS said like that it was 4th. I think that they probably should have adjusted with the plan, knowing that it was going in. I think that, like you said, Suzuki has not had a great shootout this season. I think that if they'd known that they were sort of banking it all on this, I think that they should have adjusted on the fly. But also, I understand the reluctance to do so in, feeling like you were slighted by the rule book, and so wanting to stick to your original guys because that's how it was quote unquote supposed to go. At the end of the day, like, I feel like it's kind of hard to divorce that decision from the shootout because it affects who would have been sent out, in my opinion, and it sort of affects the mentality going in. I think that people were frustrated. It was a frustrating game from start to finish. It sort of felt like the cherry on top, not just for us as the audience, but for Marty, for the players.
Galley looked like he might.
Oh yeah, he was
like,
incensed.
drop dead.
Oh my gosh.
He was exploding those rests with his mind, essentially, is what he was doing.
Pardon my language, but I was like, talk your shit.
Yeah.
Talk your shit, Galley.
Talk your shit,
like,
King.
say what you need to say.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah.
normally in the shootout, first of all, corrects me, which thank you, I totally forgot, said that you need to name the first 3 shooters before the shootout starts. Fair enough.
Oh, thank you for that information.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, I totally forgot
Again.
about that. And
You
the
know what?
normally
We're learning and
adds,
growing.
we learn and we grow. We learn and we live and we learn. Romelli says, I don't care about the mess up. He scored and that's that. Be better if you want to win. Sure, but that's not how it works. Like, sure, yes, they should. I was mad about them. Like, not mad. Of course, I'm glad that I don't care if they deserved it. I wouldn't be mad if they got 2 points. I wouldn't be mad about that. For me, it's like, I hate to like say it, but it's the spirit of this game. Like it's like they got there, whether it was by a fluke goal or by Monty playing well or whatever it was, but they got there and the rules are the rules. And I don't know. I'm sure we'll hear a lot of debate about this in the next few days.
In my opinion, I think if we're according points on who deserves to win, like based on the deserve-o-meter or whatever, by the end of regulation, Chicago deserved 2 points and the Canadiens did not deserve any. And so the fact that we made it to the shootout is already sort of, the fact is, it's not really about deserve. It's about the score on the scoreboard. And so to me, I think that they, had that goal not been changed later, they would have still had a shot. Whether they deserved it or not, they would have had a shot. And that's what's frustrating, is that, like, deserved or not, there was an opportunity to win it, and that opportunity was retroactively taken away.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what feels dispiriting. I think that it's the dispiriting straw on the back of the camel, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
Like, obviously, we're frustrated about the quality of the play and know they did not deserve to win it, but like, you know,
Mhm.
it's one more thing to be annoyed about, in my
Exactly.
opinion.
Really says you'd be mad if it happened the other way around. Sure, but I'd be mad at the like that it's just not like that's not how it works. It's about the rules again. Okay, I am obviously what do you call it? Uh biased. I am biased, but like I don't know. I think I just like I don't think I'm in a position to be able to really say. I wish that it had happened a cleaner way. They could have there was all the chance in the world that they would have lost that. In fact, they probably I don't have the numbers for the shootout in front of me. Um, but you know, whatever it is, there's all of the chance in the world that they lost that one. I just wish they'd lost it clean. That's all. I just wish they'd lost
Mhm.
it simple, plain and simple. Um, you know, you know what? Why don't I just have a quick sip of water and we will talk
All right.
the good of this game,
Okay.
aka Demidov.
Can't wait.
While I drink water, why don't you start? Demidov? Question
Okay.
mark?
Okay. Demidov. First of all, very exciting.
Hmm.
Rookie lap, all the content being put out
Yeah.
today. It honestly felt surreal
Hmm.
until he got his first point. I think for me was when it hit in,
Yeah.
like when it really hit for me. I think that was the moment. Obviously, it's going to be different for everyone, but when he got the assist, and it was like it felt like this magic and the optimism and sort of all of the hype that everyone had built into Demidov being here
Hmm.
immediately paid off, and it felt very, very special.
Hmm.
It was his third. Pardon me. It was my
Hmm.
third shift, I think.
He got the
And I
goal.
think that
Yeah, he got the assist on his second shift, actually.
goal assist on his second shift, goal on his third shift. That's right. Thank you.
Insane.
I think that no, it's crazy. It's crazy. I think that was when it felt like, oh, okay, we've been feeling very optimistic and very obviously Marty said, he's not a savior of the franchise, but he's a very good player.
Mhm.
Um, to paraphrase, it feels like immediately we saw proof of that. There were concerns. I don't think very very real concerns, but there's always going to be some sort of worry or doubt that he wouldn't be able to convert his success in the KHL. I don't think that was like necessarily a loud fraction of people or even people who believe that, but there's always going to be a nagging voice in the back of your head.
Of course.
And I think that it was very exciting to have that voice immediately be quieted. Just like right off the bat, have it know that this feeling that something special is coming, immediately be proven right.
Mhm,
We've had a
mhm.
lot of great picks in the past. Some will be facing in Carolina, for example, who we've had a lot of hopes and hopes put onto, and they weren't quite able to live up to it. I think that it's promising that we're already seeing such success right off the
Mhm,
bat, and
mhm.
that as disappointing as it is to say that he was our best player tonight, it's also very exciting that he was our best player tonight.
Yeah, it was I honestly saw it was a rare, Lane Hudson mistakes night. I think that pairing in general was a little rough today, which I hate to say. Uh, I think every pairing was a little anyways, Demidov. Man, what a special player. I know we talked a little bit about possibly not um, putting him in that pressure situation, but by the shootout, I think he must have felt pretty good about himself. Like
He must have.
he got that assist, he got that goal, the big smile on his face, you know, on the Jumbotron, holy shit. Like I'm sure he like felt that. Um and that kind of confidence can really like I don't know. I don't know. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. Um I can't wait. My little treat after this show is going to be going back and seeing his post game. I'm sure it'll immediately make me feel at least a little bit better, if nothing else. Because he is a good reminder of the future of this team, if nothing else. Uh,
Yeah. I
seeing
think
him, yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. I was going to say about the post-game presser. I feel like he does, he has a lot of expectations for himself. It's part of why he fits into a market with very high expectations. So even if his post-game presser is a little bit, disappointed about the loss and such more than his debut, at least it'll be cathartic to have a guy who really wants to win on this team. Like, I feel
Exactly.
who matches the energy and the drive to win, even if it is, like, not the most ideal post-game presser, it'll probably at least be cathartic,
Just seeing his face, because he seems so excited and like he seems so just I did you see, and like I'm not gonna try to say it because I won't even do it half as well as he did, but in his pregame they had the Habs Twitter uploaded the video of him entering the locker room, and he is even like him saying the I'm not gonna
the
say
bleu
it because
blanc rouge.
yes, I got really nervous all of a sudden. Him
Hi,
saying
I'm
it
here at
real
Moscow,
well.
and then
Yeah,
he signs off with the bleu blanc rouge. Yeah,
which was really well
I was
done.
excited about that. Like, obviously,
Sorry guys, I'm a bit of a
like,
disaster
okay,
today.
not to say pandering, because we're fans, like, we're meant to be pandered to, but I felt very pandered to. I was like, thank you so much. I love that you're learning French. It makes me happy. It hit me right in the feels the way it was supposed to. I'm sure,
Yeah, yeah. No, I
I'm
think
sure
it
there's some level of scripting to these videos. Not that I think that, like, no one can ever, say things out of
honestly,
spontaneous or show personality,
n
but
the fact that his accent sounded so good, like, good enough for me,
right? I was
even if it was
surprised.
yeah.
But I guess the translation, you're already learning English. What's one more language?
Exactly.
Anyway,
Exactly.
I'm feeling very optimistic about it. I think gotta
His
hope that he
skating
comes
looks
in
crazy,
clutch.
eh? Like, that stance, everybody talks about it, and it looks so it's so funny out there, and yet he still looks
Yeah.
so solid, but there's definitely a moment where I'm
It
like, "Ivan, you're gonna do the splits accidentally, come on."
it perplexes me, frankly. As
That
okay,
it shouldn't
as someone
work.
who skates, I get that it's physically possible. I understand that he's very solid that way. Not to be the doomer, I look at it and I see Laine's knee injury from the
Dude,
preseason.
same, same. Oh my god.
Every time I watch him skate with those wide ass legs, I'm like, oh my god, his knee's gonna get blown in. But he is far better than I am. That's why he's in the NHL and I'm not. I'm sure he will be fine. He's made
Yeah.
it this far with his knees like that. But the part of me that gets a little bit paranoid is like, my goodness, this is scary. But that's just me. I think that I need to learn to have a bit more faith, in case you couldn't tell from this broadcast.
I mean, they let us down. Also, I'm seeing Claire's going to bed. Good night, Claire. Thank you for stopping
Good night,
by.
Claire. Thank you for stopping by. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Also,
having
thank
me
you
on
everybody
here.
in general. Thank you so much for being here in the chat with us. I think this is much needed. Like, we all need to like rant a little bit, and also just need a moment of like, man, the I always feel so silly
These
saying
Habs,
aura.
man.
Yeah, it's just to focus on Demidov a little, because I do want to give him his flowers. I always feel so silly saying like the term aura because it's like such a mid
It's very
20s.
funk hype edit,
Yeah,
TikTok gym bro kind
yeah,
of word.
exactly, exactly. It
But
feels very Jim Bro, but like
aura,
honestly,
sometimes
aura.
it's the only word you can say.
Sometimes when you got
Aura.
the aura, you got the aura, and it's like he just has this like vibe about him that's so like calm doesn't feel quite right because like to me it just more feels like he's up to it, you know? It feels like he's so up to it.
Self-assured, I think.
Self-assured. Yes, that's a great word for it. And he's gonna need that. He's really gonna need that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
This is
I am
not about us and our doomerism. This is about
no.
him and the bright future and the
Ex-
fact that he's gonna stunt on these hoes next game.
exactly.
My
Exactly.
favorite phrase, by the way, like, he is going to
Dunk on him.
apologies. He's gonna dunk on them. That's a much better way to put it.
No, stun on them hoes is also a very good one.
Thank you. Okay, I just
Yeah.
wasn't sure. I feel like maybe perhaps I'm ruining I don't know, is this a PG rating
I
here,
don't know.
PG-13, by saying
I already listen, we are where we are. I've never gotten told off by Andrew before, so hey, I'm not in trouble yet, so you're
hey.
not in trouble.
Okay, as long as I'm not the guest that's sort of
He ruins
bringing down the
everything.
reputation here.
No.
But yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I think we gotta hope and pray that he stunts on them hoes and he carries us through the Carolina neutral zone trap.
Yeah, I'm seeing that earlier Hans Wilson said that everyone in the Atlantic should be very upset. Yeah, I also saw some Chicago fans being pretty upset about him being passed up. Arvin Basu has repeatedly reported that Chicago tried to trade to Columbus for 4th overall to try to get him, but Columbus really, really liked Lindstrom, so they kept it, which thank you so much, Columbus. And also do us
You
another
know,
favor tomorrow or the day
yeah,
after. I don't
I
know when they
think
play.
should we,
Mhm.
fingers crossed this does not happen, not make it to the playoffs, I think perhaps our score with Columbus will have been settled.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I think we've gotten Demidov, we've gotten Line out of them, though I do miss Jordan Harris.
I do miss Jordan
Gone but not
Harris.
forgotten, King.
Rip.
Rest in peace. Have fun with Columbus. But I think that perhaps our score will be looking to be settled. But yeah, I think it's crazy that they were so attached to Lindstrom to the point of like.
Mhm.
I mean, I get wanting to keep your 4th overall pick.
Yeah.
But also, I think that
I think they were
I
going to
don't
trade
know, the
this
entire.
year's for this year's unprotected, I believe, is what they were reporting, which
Okay.
like they got a real good one. Peter Up says,
Yeah.
can't believe they spoiled Demidov's debut. Sure, but look back at this. We'll look back at this genuinely. I know all the other things might color it a little bit, but we'll look back at this and we'll remember this guy who came with so much hype and it could have really like made him settle down or like made him crushed him under the pressure a little bit or crushed him under the expectations. But to
He rose to
me,
meet them.
yeah, he rose to meet them. And isn't that so special for a player to not only have those skills and all those tools and also be able to use them properly? And obviously we'll see more and more of that. And I'm sure we'll see some warts, blah, blah, blah. But for now, man, what an exciting player to have. He's going to be so good for this team. Him and Hudson are going to link up together to score so many beautiful goals. Not that I'm saying that they should.
4893 gonna feed families.
Do you
Oh
think
my
he'll
god,
change his numbers?
I'm excited.
Do you think he'll change his number 91? Do you think
I
Kapanen?
think
I
I
think
don't think
Kapanen
so,
would give
honestly.
it up if he was asked to. I don't think Kapanen would force it, but I wonder
Yeah,
if
I
he
don't
would
think he
wanna.
would. I don't think Kapanen would give it up were he not asked. But
Mhm.
also, I think that once you settle on a number, there's been a lot of fanfare about unveiling the 93. He clearly picked it for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that there are players who stuck with their rookie number for a long time. I mean,
Mhm.
Cole, prior to this season, he stuck with 22, even though it was assigned to him.
Mhm.
I don't. Maybe it's just me personally, but I don't see why 91 is so much a part of his brand that someone else should give it up in favor of him having it.
Mhm.
I think that it's also, it's a new identity. He's on the Habs now. He's going to be 93. We're going to bring the cup
And
home.
isn't that
Like, maybe it's
yeah.
a new era. Not
Isn't that
to quote the
special?
Philadelphia Flyers, but like they have a new era of orange thing. We have a new era of Demidov coming. Like
Exactly.
I'm not particularly attached to the 91. Maybe he is. We'll see it next season. I'll be proven wrong, but that's my take.
You know what will happen is we will make the playoffs and Demidov will score some sick goals. And in the highlights, he's gonna like look at them and he say, I don't want any other like number. I want to be 93 when I score some other sick goals later in my career. I
Right?
want them to match up.
When he wins his Conn Smythe bonus, he'll be doing it in a 93.
And then
And
he
so
won't
why
want
would
to
he
change
want to
it.
change?
Exactly.
Exactly. He's going to fulfill the beautiful Habs tradition of winning the Conn Smythe before being Calder eligible. And I think that's lovely.
And I think that's beautiful.
Exactly.
So we'll talk a little bit more about everything else. But first I am going to tell you guys, Andrew's going to tell you guys more about one of our lovely sponsors. It is, I believe, Saint Motel. If I recall, I believe I played the Inchoo Bijoux ad. Yes, it was the Inchoo Bijoux. Sorry guys, I'm not on my game today, which join the team, I guess.
Neither were the Habs.
Neither were the Habs. So we will go to a Saint Motel and play that bad boy.
Looking to make awesome memories with your friends? Take some promotional pictures or videos for your business? Check out Saint Motel in Montreal's Sud-West borough. It's an amazing selfie studio located in Montreal's historic Chateau Saint-Ambroise, right next to Inchoo Bijoux. It boasts 12 plus unique decors for you to enjoy and make memories with. Hop into their iconic heart-shaped ball pit or transport yourself back in time to Expo 67. Le Saint Motel can also come to you with mobile decor setups available to rent for events, including setup and takedown, or you can head to lesaintmotel.com right now for more details, or to check out their amazing decors that are always being updated. Now, let's get back to the show, but before you do, make sure you subscribe to Game Over Montreal, Game Over Network, and smash like on this video because it really helps us out.
We're back. We are back. We're so back. It's so over. It's so over. It's so over. It's so over. We're so back.
It must be so over before we're so back. That is the mantra of life. It must be
Exactly.
so over before we're so back. Like, it had to be over before Four Nations, before we were back after Four
And then it
Nations.
had to happen
pre the
again.
trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happened to happen again. Because, I'm sorry, but the Eastern wildcard race wasn't going to be interesting unless we fumbled a few games. Like, we were too far ahead. We had to keep things
We're
interesting.
doing the
It's just our
NHL
flair
a
for the dramatic.
favor. We're doing the NHL a favor.
We're just making the race more interesting. Like, it would not have been interesting if we'd clinched it 3 games ago.
Literally. And you know
So
what?
I think really we're contributing to those TV ratings. I don't know if you saw that tweet, but there was someone who said that the Habs would not get any TV ratings if they made it to the playoffs, and I genuinely laughed out loud. I was like,
that is
you have to
insane
be
behavior.
you have to be huffing that copium so bad
Was it a
to
Leafs fan
genuinely
or something?
believe that.
Was
No,
it
I
a
think
Leafs
it was
fan?
someone rooting for the Blue Jackets.
Okay.
And I was like, you live in Ohio.
we're
Be so for
talking
real.
we're talking attendance. We're talking numbers. All right. Okay.
Oh, actually, they do have really good arena attendance, but that's also because their tickets are affordable. Which, not to dox myself. I live in Vancouver.
Mhm.
Note to Francesco Accolini, make your ticket prices more affordable. Maybe we'll show up to games even after you mismanage the entire Canucks season. Just saying. Not to get incredibly off topic, but
No,
I
I've
have to say my
seen
2 cents where everyone on stream can hear me because I have many opinions.
Yeah, no, as long as you listen, this is a broadcast for all your opinions, and here we are. It is insane though, as our friends in the chat point out, is that the 2 teams in the wildcard race are Columbus and Montreal. At the start of the season, if you'd said that, I'm not sure
I
how
would
many
have laughed
people.
in your face.
I literally was embarrassed by people who were who were
Same.
suggesting that the Habs might make the playoffs. I was like, guys, you're like, can we be realistic, please?
I was like, guys, no, I would have arguments with my coworkers, and I'd be like, guys, no one actually thinks the Habs are going to make the playoffs. They're just saying that. I mean, management literally said we'd be in the mix. We just want to get out of the lottery, out of the draft lottery category. And here we are. I tend to regularly take back my own words. If that's a lesson we've learned tonight, is that I'm willing to be corrected on my opinions. And thank God for that.
Love to do that. The Habs love to do that.
Thank God for that.
I was thinking about this. I know we all came into this with like, oh, they already like passed expectations. We wouldn't like this. Everything we get from here is like gravy. I think at this point,
want it.
Yeah, at this point, I want the playoffs. And also for me, it is actively a disappointment to freeze under pressure like this. I don't say that in like a way that's like, oh, I'm giving up on this team and we need to strip this. Like, I'm not in a super dramatic way, but this is definitely a failure. If they are so close, they've done this time and time again where they've put themselves so close and they're not able to like kind of just take that last step. And that would be a disappointment. Is that kind of what your thoughts are on that, or how are you feeling about the concept of if they don't make it, it is still okay because we never expected this?
Okay. Prior to the 6-game win streak, I was definitely on board with that sentiment. I think that, I mean, the goal was to be in the mix. And we were in the mix, and then we surpassed the mix. and it felt like we were hitting the ceiling of potential that we didn't really know existed at the beginning of the season, but I was incredibly happy that we found it, and I thought, okay, this is a bonus. And then we lost in a pretty disappointing way to the Sens, and then we lost in a less disappointing way to the Leafs, and I thought, okay, we're so close. I don't know. I guess my opinions were, like, we can't lose our nerve like this. We can't lose our cool. I understand. It's like tripping 10 meters before the finish line. That's just not a way you want to end the race.
Yeah.
You come 5th, fine. You don't want to be in 1st and trip and fall. And that's how you end your race. I think that it sort of means that, no matter how fast or no matter how well you ran up until those last 10 meters, that race is only ever going to be defined by the fact that you fell right before the finish line.
Exactly. We're never going to hear the end of this if they blow this.
Oh, absolutely not.
And it's just so bad. Like, we're all gonna, like, if they don't make it, I can already see how it's all gonna go down. And we're all gonna be really mad for like a week. And then we're all gonna reflect and be like, nobody expected this. This was a surprise. And some of it will be coping, some of it will be real, and to other opposing fans who don't like us, it won't matter.
Yeah.
And like, as Vaguely Sober reminds us in the chat, Columbus just has to drop a game. And drop a game even going to overtime doesn't matter. I hate okay, so to one extent, your destiny is in your hand, because if you still win your next game, you're still in the playoffs. Columbus can win their next
two. Even if we lose in overtime the next game.
Yes, true.
Even if we lose in overtime next
Yeah,
game.
if they get 1 point their next game and Columbus wins their next 2, doesn't matter. Still, the Habs are the ones who are in. So they are in control of their destiny, but I hate out-of-town scoreboard watching, and like seeing the Capitals get their ass handed to them by the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Awful feeling.
Girl, what are you doing?
Awful
Get up.
feeling.
Get up, girl.
7-0 shutout with Ovechkin on your team. I get that they're resting players. I get that their spot is clinched. They didn't want to win the President's Trophy.
But isn't it embarrassing?
But
you know what? They fear us.
Get up.
They fear us. They fear the Habs. They fear the Habs. They didn't want to face us.
They fear a 2010 repeat. That's all I have to say.
You know what? And I think that this is a really this is a question that I know the answer to, and I'm going to ask it anyways. They fight through it all. They get in and they lose in 4. How would you feel about that? I mean, other than like
I would
really
be disappointed.
really mad in that moment, but like overall, what it means.
Overall, I would be disappointed, because I think, not even for myself, but for the team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they've made it very clear that they want to make it to the playoffs, and they want to win in the Bell Center, and they want to experience winning in the playoffs at the Bell Center. And I think not only would I like to experience that, I know how much they want to. I mean, no one puts more expectations on themselves than players.
Yeah.
And so I think for them, they would be very much aware of how disappointing it is to get swept in 4. It's a crummy feeling. I think that it would just be all around disappointment. Personally, I think that I just want to see one win. I think that, again, there are no loser points in playoffs games. I was gonna say, like, I don't know if it would hurt less or hurt more if all of those 4 games we lost in overtime, because it would. But
that would hurt
I don't know.
more.
I think either way, the end result would be that they didn't win once, and that would suck. Yeah. And that would be. It would feel like, oh, we made it this far just to not even experience what we were really looking for when we came to the playoffs. Because, I mean, no one wants to make it to the playoffs just to lose in 4. You want to come to the playoffs to win in the playoffs. So it's like, you make it to the playoffs, and then you don't even really experience why you want to be in the playoffs, which is to win.
Yeah, because like
that's my feeling.
I would love to see these guys get the experience of winning one game in the Bell Center and seeing how it feels.
Oh, absolutely.
I want them to feel it. I want them to hear that crowd go wild. I want them to not only see how much people show up for them just in general, but how crazy the city goes when they win one. I still, like, I regularly watch, and this is so depressing, but I regularly watch that. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but there's this one compilation video that goes around every once in a while of when Arturi Lehkonen scored his goal
Oh,
versus
yeah.
who was it? I think it was Vegas, I believe.
Yeah, it was Vegas overtime game 6. I was
Yes.
in Montreal
Were you? Oh
when it
my
happened.
God. How was
Okay, actually, I was not out. So, insane story. I was living outside of Canada at the time, and I was really desperate to make it back to Canada because I had people I wanted to see. It was 2021. I wasn't able to go back in
Yes.
2020. I
Oh,
really
something
wanted to
was
go back in
happening?
2021.
Did something happen?
Oh yeah, was there a little wee incident? Anyway, I flew to Montreal. I stayed with my family's place, but I was quarantined in the house.
Yeah.
I couldn't leave by nature of the whole testing
Cool.
situation and
Yeah.
like COVID situation. You had to stay 14 days in a quarantine environment. So I watched the game, and like my family was great. They made sure, that I was able to still watch the game. And so I kind of missed out. I didn't find out until afterwards just how wild Montreal went because I was stuck in the
Man.
basement.
Yeah.
But it was so electric. Just like being there with your family, experiencing it, feeling that feeling. I think, even in the basement, it's not really a comparable feeling. Like,
No,
oh
no,
my God. No, I was
no.
at the card store the other day, and I was so sentimental. I picked out an Arturi Lehkonen Habs card. I was like, just for the memories to keep in my
Lucky, like
pocket.
slowly, like gently touching his face, like Lucky.
Oh, how I miss him. But yeah, it was great. Then I found out afterwards just how wild. I think they showed it after the game.
Yeah.
Just the video of
It was
Montreal
outside the
outside the
Bell
Bell
Center.
Center
There was outside
erupting. Oh yeah.
the Bell Center. They were like, I don't remember what drink it was exactly, but I very clearly remember it was this drink, like alcoholic drink. Like they'd set up a tent of some kind, and
Oh,
it was like about to fall down. Like
it was
people were
shaking.
shaking
It was
it.
absurd. Like it looked like a Coachella crowd. It was absurd. I was like, I was so close yet so far. Very much quarantined in the basement, but
Hey, if it makes you
whatever.
feel better, I was like straight up sorry. If it makes you feel better, I was straight up just in Toronto surrounded by like nobody. So at least you had like you felt the vicinity of it. Um
Yes.
Vaguely Sober does point out, and this is, I didn't realize the numbers were this bad, but Vaguely Sober points out Caps are goal differential plus 57. Montreal is negative 22. Columbus is negative 3. That's not recipe for success. Yeah, they're not. I like, as much as we joke, I don't
25
think.
and 25.
And hey, man, Demidov's gonna score 22 goals in 3 games on his own.
Yeah. No,
Book
I
it.
mean, I think you're right. Sorry, not to have interrupted you. I just really did want to throw a 25 and 20 joke in there. Yeah, as much as we joke about them being an upset, it's not very likely.
Mhm.
Again, if anything, I just want them to win one at the Bell Center. That would
Yeah.
be nice.
He just
Preferably
wants
more than
one.
one.
He just wants
I
one. The
really don't want to.
Claude what was it? The commercial that they had that was him in Ottawa.
That
It
is
was
so
he just
depressing.
wants one.
That was so depressing. Like, don't make me feel bad for Claude Giroux of all people. Like, okay. Please. I don't like it. It's yucky. Why do I have feelings that are like
Yeah.
not intense disgust towards him? Anyway.
So just really quickly, before
Yeah.
you go on, I just wanna, if anybody has any questions in the chat, I'm seeing some, so drop them. We will be moving on to our overtime segment very soon, as soon as we're done gabbing, which we're never gonna be done. So to me, it's just a thing of like, they're likely to get their ass kicked. Even if they get swept, just having that hunger, if anything else. Like,
Yeah.
to me, the hunger of almost making it, not making it, is like it's like hunger negative than it would be to make it and get swept. The hunger that would leave. Because I feel like that, like, there's a disappointment, but at least you have, like, you accomplished a thing, right? And I know, like, there's no loser points or blah, 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 but it's human nature, right? It's just human nature to see and to go, okay, we made this step. If nothing else, just
Yeah.
fighting back against this hole that they've dug themselves. Jesus Christ. I remember like
We were bottom of the league at one point. Good Lord.
But I remember at one point we were talking, and I was like talking about like, oh, maybe they should like when they clinch it and they have time, maybe they should like sit Armia for a bit, his hand, etc., etc. Maybe David Spark can take some time off, etc., etc. And by that, like by now, it's just man, just make it. Which speaking
We
of,
don't have
by
that
the way,
luxury anymore.
we don't, and this is the position they put themselves in. So suck it up, losers. Go, my fail sons, my stupid loser fail sons, go and win a game. That's all I
Oh
got.
my god. Yeah, no, speaking of bodies, like, and whatnot, and breaking your body, I have been waiting all stream to bring up the splits David Savard did at some point during this game. I watched him and I was like, oh, you are an old man. Your legs should not be going in two different directions. That was an incredibly irrelevant aside, but I just wanted to bring that up so that
No,
at least someone out there knows that I noticed. I noticed he put his body on the line once again for this team.
as he
Good
always
Lord, what a
does.
sacrifice.
As he always does. That penalty kill, he's a monster on that shift, that one where he drew a penalty. David Savard is so interesting. Outrage also says that he saw the splits, so not the only one.
Thank you, Outrage.
I was too busy having a heart attack. Just to like circle back.
Yes.
I really, 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 really need these guys to win. And I don't just mean that in like a me. I think these guys need themselves to win.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Columbus, as great of a story as they are, as much as they're up and coming, they have a lot of like guys who, and I don't know, maybe this is just a Habs centric. It definitely probably is because I don't know anything about Columbus. All I know is Sean Monahan, my beloved. They definitely have like guys who I don't know what their situation is, so I'm just talking shit. But for me, I want these guys because they're so young, and a lot of this team is teams that are this team is team. The players on this team are going to carry over, hopefully, to when they're competitive. I think that this is just setting up, and we're throwing. Actually, I'm not because this isn't as big of a deal. It's not as bad as the Leafs blowing like a playoff series, but I fear that we are setting up loser stink. Does and again, maybe I'm overreacting. It totally could be, but I fear going out this way where you had so many chances to clinch and not being able to do it. Just
That's gonna haunt them all summer, and
It's
it's gonna
gonna
carry over.
it's gonna carry over, and I fear it won't be the positive kind of haunting where it's like
No.
you learn, you move. Like I feel like I don't want. Someone said this earlier. I don't remember. I didn't see exactly who. Sorry, but somebody said you don't want to end up in the Calgary zone, and I don't want to end up in the Calgary zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I was gonna pull up to see who it was. I was like,
no.
wanna
It's a
shout
while
them out,
ago.
but
It was a while ago.
it was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um. So you know what? I feel pretty worn out. I'm gonna
Honestly, I feel a lot better. I think this was therapeutic.
It is definitely, but like you know how like I've been to therapy sessions where like in the end it was so therapeutic, but also like I've
Oh.
cried and I'm so exhausted. I'm like, you know how babies will cry themselves to sleep?
Oh, for sure.
I'm
Still do.
Still do, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move over to the Vaguely Sober said that. Thank you, Vaguely Sober.
Thank you, Vaguely Sober.
I'm going to move us over to our overtime segment, but before I do, I am going to throw a little information at you guys about our Patreon. So, are you looking for ways to help an upstart media company employing over 30 young journalists and analysts across Canada? We're all Canadian. If you have a few spare bucks kicking around, you can head to our Patreon page at patreon.com/thegameovernetwork. There you'll find multiple tiers featuring different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There's I need to breathe. Okay. There's extra access, exclusive looks behind the scene, Discord benefits, and merch discounts, opportunities to give us your feedback and join us for special shows live where you can interact with the host as we launch new ways to improve our experience. And if you're not able to spare a few dollars, which totally understand, times are hard, we do have a free tier available so you don't miss out. You'll be able to join our Patreon through that. All that fun stuff. If you really want to help us and you can't do any of those things, or you want to help us on top of that, make sure to click like and subscribe on YouTube. Rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast app because we do have an audio only version, and share our work on your social media of choice. Any of our episodes, or also, we have all accounts. A lot of us have different accounts on different social medias. And you can just learn more about our Patreon on patreon.com/thegameovernetwork for more fun stuff. Take a deep breath. I'm going to, I always forget to breathe
Banger
during that.
spiel. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. So, overtime. I actually found this really great question. Natalie Petty before says, gotta go. My last thought, help your fucking goalie. Bye. Help your fucking goalie. Except I think your goalie could have helped you a little bit more on that third goal, but I can't be that critical because they made him do a lot of work. But sometimes you can
Give
use
and
this.
take, you know.
Yeah, you can use a save, but also like can't put it all on Monty. You gotta do everything else. Does anybody think we need to sign, or sorry, it's launched into it halfway through, Jesus. Hans Swanson asked in the chat, does anyone think we need to sign Demidov and an emotional support Russian player this summer? Connor McDavid got his emotional support, Connor Brown. What are your thoughts on that? Because I actually also noticed that there aren't any other Russian players on this team. So um I think it was, I can't remember exactly who it was, but somebody told me that, um, Jesus, I'm going to sound so ignorant, but I believe somebody told me that Finnish players, some of the Finnish players might be able to understand him a little bit, like understand Russian a little bit, but I don't know that. And I think also maybe just having a safety blanket because he has pretty good English, honestly. From what I've heard, he has very good English. He has good communication skills. But as somebody who also has English as a second language, sometimes there's just a comfort in having a security blanket. So, thoughts?
I think that yeah, it wouldn't hurt. Obviously, right now we would have to see where said player fits on the lineup.
Of course,
I
of
think, like
course.
you
Yeah.
said, he's got. Yeah. I can't even begin to think of hypothetical players that would fit, just because I don't know really what other situations are like in the rest of the league, like who we could even bring over. But I think that should the hypothetical situation ever arise, I would be in favor of having another Russian for Demidov.
Mhm.
I mean, like you said, he's got great comprehension skills. I don't know if you saw, but there was a clip of him and Gally yapping on the bench.
Yes. Yes.
And
Galley
Demidov seemed
yapping? Shocking.
what fork found in kitchen. Yeah, but he seemed to either he was nodding really enthusiastically to get Gally off his back, or he seemed to be genuinely understanding. But either way, there was some sort of response there. It wasn't like talking to a wall. But I do think it would be beneficial. Obviously, yes, some Finnish people can speak Russian. It depends where, how close to the border, if your family was like historically, prior to 1917, sort of where, and then the Soviet takeover. Like, so it really depends. I don't think it's safe to assume, especially considering we have 3 Finnish players on the roster,
Yeah.
that any of them would really be able to speak Russian at all or Russian well enough to give that sense of ease with Demidov, because it also means that the Russian has to be good enough that he feels like he can fully express himself instead of trying to speak
Yeah.
beginner Russian to a non-native Russian speaker.
Yeah, then what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, I would definitely be in favor of bringing in another Russian. I think, of course, this is entirely hypothetical. We'd have to see how that works out, but hypothetically, yes.
Hypothetically,
Long-winded
yeah.
answer.
Yeah, I think I mean, go right ahead. I think hypothetically that totally makes a lot of sense to me because there is something to be said about comfort, and providing your prized little possession and your sweet baby boy with some comfort there. Um, excuse me. Our staff had Arbor, which was a pleasant surprise. Oh my God, can I breathe? So I went back and I looked at some of the comments in the chat, and Alexander Christian says, I think the worst part is 1 week ago we'd go into the playoffs with swagger, and now if we get in, it'll be limping.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate, right? Like, it would have been nice to have like the confidence, but also to go in with some sense of like having had time to like chill out and rest your players that you needed to. I know I've seen people say that sometimes you want to go in um on a hot streak because then you're playing well, but then you have playoff teams who are not doing that. Washington Capitals, who have lost 2 in a row to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Not that I'm saying that we're better than them. I think that that's just them literally not giving a hoot. I should use that term more. Giving a hoot. It's a very good term. Actually, Romelli points out something really interesting back then is Romelli says, I'm happy Columbus plays so opponents because all the good teams are benching their good players. I think that's a really good point of view because Flyers are not good enough where they're resting their players for the playoffs. But I don't think they're so ass that they don't have any good players. Whereas I think when we meet Carolina, they will be resting their players. And I feel like that discrepancy between like the top of that and the bottom of that is a lot higher. Thoughts?
I can definitely get behind that argument. I hadn't really considered that, to be honest. I don't think anyone's playing to lose, but I think that some teams definitely do get dispirited once they're in elimination mode. And so I just think that Columbus has a lot more to fight for than either Philly or the Islanders, but I can definitely see both sides. There's something to be said about resting the players versus having a team that, still doesn't want to go out limping because they don't have the consolation of going to the playoffs afterwards. They don't have something to look forward to. So how they finish, they want to finish strong. Either way, I can't really predict the outcome of either of those games.
No,
based on
we're
roster.
both. I am
No.
coping personally. I am coping is how I'm doing this.
I think that's great copium. I think that's a very
somewhat
pleasant thought to entertain.
logical copium. You know, it's not like complete.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Our copium is
Is
founded
fact-based.
in reason.
Exactly.
Founded
Exactly.
based. Yes. Thank you. You got what I was going for there.
Of course. I got you. So to go back a little bit to some good performances, because I want to leave this off in a good note. Because listen, there's a chance by the end of tomorrow the Habs have made the playoffs. There's a chance that if they don't make it by the end of tomorrow, by the end of that day, the next day, they can make the playoffs. If they haven't made it then, there's still a chance, right? They have like all the chances in the world. They've used up a bunch of their chances that they already had, but listen, we can only live in the here and now. Whatever's going to happen was meant to happen. But there were some good things today. Personally, I really liked Slaf's performance. I know near the end it got real sloppy, like the rest of the team did, really. But for the majority of the game, I thought he really elevated. How did you kind of feel about that?
Yeah, I think that he was definitely the bright point on the first line. I think the first line has been uncharacteristically rough lately. But I think that considering their performance, he was definitely like the top player of the first line. And so I didn't notice his performance as much. Mostly I think I was in a state of panic sort of watching the first line not perform as expected. Yeah. But I can definitely, retroactively go back and see that he was the top of the 3 first line guys.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated with the rest of the line. I think it would have been a great time for them to do something, but hey, the game that we have next would be a great time for them to do something. There's always time until the last game. The way that this team set themselves up, there's always time to do something. Someone actually pointed out earlier, Hans Swanson pointed out, did anyone notice Anderson tonight? He played about the same as Demidov. I assume that's like time on ice. And Romelli added, the vet line had a rough night. And yeah, I agree with that, which was a little surprising to me. I thought that they'd be the ones that were a little steady through today because of the fact that they're old.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it before. They faced it, I think. I think we sort of expected them to be a bit more level-headed and not
Mhm.
succumb to the same feeling.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I feel like I noticed sloppy plays from everyone. But yeah, I definitely did. There was a moment with Anderson. Oh god, it might have been in the third where I think he just held on to the puck for a little bit too long, and it resulted in a play going back down the other end of the ice in the Chicago zone, and I was just like, ouch, that's not fun. I
There were
think I just had
definitely
a lot of
moments, yeah.
moments where I was like, ouch.
I think that was a
But
lot
yeah,
of
I
the
don't.
game.
Yeah, I don't think they were up to snuff. I think obviously they have been these past few games outperforming what we expected from them completely. I think,
Mhm.
we sort of expected the first line to step up after Four Nations as the game progressed, second half Slav. I don't think we did expect the third line to have, or the vet line to have the season they were having, and seeing them sort of come back down to earth. Well, they played worse than usual, but have that come back down to earth. It's kind
Yeah.
of funny that we're like disappointed in them
It's
when
all context,
they
baby.
haven't historically they were not the
Mhm.
kind of driving force that we've come to see from them these past few games.
Yeah, it just and the same is true for the first line. It's just a strange time to disappear. Um,
Yeah.
and that's a little harsh, but hey, if there's one thing that we know about Nick Suzuki, it's that he elevates when he needs to. Um, so I've kept you for very, very long, and I am gonna let you go very, very soon. But one question I did see about the Canucks, actually, that I thought you might have an
Oh,
answer for is Vaguely Sober asked earlier, who will be the Canucks coach next season? It shouldn't be Talkett. Thoughts?
okay. I think it will be Talkett, realistically speaking.
Really?
Yes. I think that the drama of what has happened in the locker room has obfuscated his coaching errors. And I think the Jack Adams to his name greatly, greatly elevates his staying power.
Mm,
Um, I think people were right sort of towards the beginning of the season, the end of last season, saying that the Canucks would not do as well this season. And I think but they still did really well last season, is the
mhm,
thing. And
mhm.
so
Do you
I
think it was
think that
overperforming
management,
last season or underperforming this year, or somewhere in the
well,
middle?
I think it's somewhere in the middle,
Mm,
realistically speaking. But when you look at all of the years before and this year after, in which everything that could go wrong did go wrong, the 23-24 season does look like an outlier.
mhm,
I think that it's sort of, I guess it's like they see that potential in them. They see that The thing is, unfortunately, management is very public about when they don't like somebody, and they
mhm,
haven't made that indication yet with Talkett. I
mhm,
think that he stays. I think also Hughes is a big factor in that. For better or for worse, Hughes is very attached to Rick Talkett.
mhm,
He's publicly professed how much he likes Talkett, how he's the
mhm,
best coach he's ever had. I
mhm.
think that with the way the season is going, I don't know if y'all are on Twitter. There's like everyone and their mother is saying Quinn Hughes to whatever team they root for because they want him there, and they're looking for reasons to point out that Hughes is miserable in Vancouver. I think that if management is sensitive to his wants and needs, as they should be, considering he is the franchise player, they will be keeping Talkett around. Now,
Mhm,
if they did what I wanted, Manny Malhotra would be coach. He's
mhm,
coached the Abbotsford Canucks. He knows a lot of the guys. He's been in the org for a while. He officially made the leap this year to the head coach of the Abbotsford Canucks, and he's done a great job with those guys. We've seen, especially now with all of the injuries, the Abbey Canucks in the latter half of the season have really stepped up. They've
mhm,
stepped up to the plate. They've been, they've come for a few games. They've come for more than a few games, and sure, a lot of them are young guys still developing. I think that they've shown definitely know their potential for growth and the fact that they were well coached in Abbotsford prior to coming up. So ideally, that's my pick. At the moment, I don't see any available quote unquote NHL coaches
mhm.
who could make that replacement for Rick Tocchet. It's why I haven't been on my soapbox clamoring for him to be fired as much as I don't like the way he's coached the offense out of them.
Yeah.
Um, I think that Manny Malhotra would be the best choice. They recently had that 13-game win streak. The guys are looking really good that get called up to the NHL.
Mhm.
That would be my pick.
Yeah, not to make it about the Habs, but I think that's a really underrated part of having a well-run organization, which I'm not sure I'd call the Canucks organization that, but a good
Ooh.
setup, a good setup for a team, I think, is a AHL system that feeds well into their NHL system. And I think, not sure if people follow the Laval Rocket, which you should because they are doing very well. And I think that's another thing to look forward to is that there are some really important players getting some really good experience there. And hey, with some moves coming in the off seasons for 2C, maybe some of those guys can score some sick goals and put themselves on some blocks for GMs wanting them, right? Like, there's
Yeah,
always
for sure.
something. There's always something.
I mean, both of the Habs affiliates, including the Trois-Rivières Lions in the
Mhm.
ECHL and the Laval Rockets, won their divisions. So I think that's a really bright spot. I will say, okay, I have many things to say about Canucks management and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
They do have a really good team in the Abbotsford Canucks, and I
Mhm.
think that their farm system is good, and I'm pretty
Mhm.
happy with that.
Mhm.
But back to the Habs, I think that um
Sorry.
I
Well,
think there's a bright future.
I do
Is
think there's
my
yeah,
thing.
I think there's a pretty bright future there. I really like what this organization has set up, and I am not eulogizing them yet because they are not dead. If there's one thing this team likes to do, it's the meme that's like, "I'm not dead. Send an ambulance, but not for me."
Girl, I
So
hate to interrupt you.
yes.
Um, my headphones are not working. This is so unfortunate. What a way to. Okay, we're gonna fix the audio output. I'm so sorry, y'all. What a way to
No.
end the stream.
It's totally fine. I am going to head off, but for those of us, those people who are watching and can't read the stream, there's a really funny moment that just happened, which is Trinka said they gave Michkov an emotional support Russian in Philly, and Hans Swanson says they gave Michkov an emotional support fire the coach. And that is a great way to end the stream. And I love you guys, and we will be signing off. And Andrew will be there for the next game, and honestly, at this point, I hope that the Habs get in by another team losing. I don't think they can handle this pressure. Okay, love you guys. Bye.
Bye.